A very good morning to all of you and all the chartered accountants and the advocates who have gathered here. So basically, this is an initiative of the Central GST Department in collaboration with the Chartered Accountants Association. So all of us have gathered here to discuss about the events about the tax collection system in the post-COVID scenario and the expeditious clearance of the refunds and any problems relating to refunds thereof. So now I would like to pass on to the Chartered Accountant Association in order to commence these proceedings in the formal manner. Over to you.
Dear CA members and tax consultants, I welcome you all in this meeting. I also welcome our guest of honor, Honorable Mr. Dilmil Singh Soch, Assistant Commissioner, CGST Department. I also welcome Mr. Manish Beriji, Superintendent CGST Amritsar. Today, our Honorable Assistant Commissioner sir will guide us and discuss on the refund matters and how to safeguard tax collections. Now I request our chairman CA Sanjay Arora ji to kindly say a few words.
Thank you, Shashipal ji. Guest of honor, Assistant Commissioner Dilmil Singh ji, my esteemed professional colleagues, good morning to all of you. I warmly welcome you to special session for the tax related issue which is being convened by Central GST Amritsar to discuss and deal with the issue rising out of COVID-19. I appreciate the efforts done by Central GST team in this tough time. I assure you, sir, as a partner in nation building, we all professionals stand by them in the need of ours. Friends, I would like to inform you that our Amritsar branch has been selected by ICI to form the GST help desk. In this context, we have selected 15 chartered accountants to represent the said help desk from Amritsar. I do believe this help desk will be useful for professionals as well as clients. I do hope, sir, we will overcome the COVID-19 soon and the world will bloom again. With these words, I request Shashipal ji to proceed with this session.
Now I request our Honorable Mr. Dilmil Singh Soch ji, Assistant Commissioner, to kindly say a few words and guide all the members and tax consultants.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shashipal ji and Sanjay Arora ji. It is indeed such a pleasure and a relief to see everybody hearty and healthy. In a time ho gaya, we have all been under a very strict lockdown, I must say. And I really hope that your families are also doing well. My special thanks to Amritsar branch of NIRC, ICAI and Mr. Manish ji, who has done special efforts to organize this meeting. So the idea behind organizing this get together is to synergize our actions so that the tax collections in times to come do not fall as drastically as we are already expecting. So to give you the present position, today morning, the tax collections in comparison with last year are down by more than 90% in April. Now, this is partially due to the reason that the returns have been deferred. And I believe that by 30th June, when most of the people will be filing their returns, we can see some buoyancy in tax. But still, as the businesses have been non-operational, so it essentially means that this buoyancy will be very minimalistic. Therefore, the role of CAs, advocates, all the tax consultants who are involved increases tremendously in the post-COVID situation. Now we have to be very, very careful. Why? Because this situation is not going to end soon. It is a long drawn battle. Even if we talk about herd immunity or any kind of vaccine to be developed, it will take a long time. So we have to prepare ourselves and adapt to the new reality. So you must have already seen that CBIC has made a lot of changes, a lot of reliefs have been given to the taxpayers. But now today, what I wanted to know was to really know what kind of challenges you expect that the trade is going to face and how we can help you as a department to overcome those challenges. So first thing I am assuring all of you is that the department will work with utmost humane touch in this scenario. Why? Because we already know that the economic position of the companies is very, very weak. Secondly, I would want to assure you that any refunds which are due to the companies will be cleared in an expeditious manner. We have already set a timeline of around 7 days within which your refunds will be credited to your accounts. So this is an assurance from the department that the department stands by all the tax consultants and the trade in this scenario. Further, what I wanted to talk about is the kind of changes which we are going to see. I think physical gatherings and meetings are going to be a thing of the past now for the foreseeable future. So what we need to do is that we need to have such sessions regularly. At least I would prefer a monthly session like this, wherein we all could gather and have our thoughts in the same direction. Secondly, now what we are looking forward to is that we are actively going to use such kind of facilities, video conferencing, for any kind of interaction, for any kind of legal communication, especially in terms of adjudication of show cause notices wherein PH is to be granted. So I would want that all of you adapt to these new technologies so that the work doesn't stop and we are able to move forward rapidly. Secondly, I would also want that all of the submissions which are to be made to the department or any kind of representation happens via email. Therefore, it is very important that you communicate with the department with the registered email ID on the portal. That will give authenticity. Or you could use an authorization from the client and communicate via your emails. What I would prefer is that you draw up a list of emails wherein we can authenticate that these lists belong to certain CAs or advocates, and any communication happening via that email will be valid as far as CGST Amritsar is considered. Thereafter, I certainly believe that the CAs and advocates and all the tax consultants have a great role to nudge the taxpayer into right direction. Why? Because I fear that after such a critical revenue position, after such a downfall in economic activities, there can certainly be an increased focus or increased tendency towards tax evasion. So it is a combined effort of all of us that we have to guide the taxpayer in the right direction. We have to tell him that a donation to PM CARES or CM Relief Fund or PM Relief Fund or paying the taxes honestly are all equal. And we require a huge sum of money in these testing times to overcome the COVID situation. So this role is absolutely most important, and I would want that you guide the taxpayers in the right direction to pay their taxes honestly whenever the returns are filed. Especially in terms of returns, I would like to point out that please do take care of the companies which have turnover more than 5 crores, because therein they can incur interest liabilities. Also, please make sure that the 30th June deadline is strictly adhered to. Why? Because if you do not adhere to that deadline, even a single day delay can result in a huge interest liability. So please take care that the returns are filed regularly as much possible as it can be. My humble request to all of you is also that as the revenue position of small businesses like Kirana stores or retailers is going to be very weak. So I humbly request all of you to kindly at least either defer the payments which are due onto them as far as your consultancy fee is concerned, or try to reduce it to the maximum possible extent. And I'm already aware that many of you are doing it and will actively be doing it in the future to help tide over this crisis. Further, if you have any kind of problems which the trade is facing or which you are facing or which you foresee that we may be facing in the future, I would like to hear that from all of you. Thank you very much.
Members, I've unmuted everyone. So anybody who has a query, please feel free and ask your queries with and discuss your queries with the officers.
I would like to bring to your attention that there are a couple of provisions which would require some attention at this point in time. I was thinking about those provisions, like one of the important provisions is that the buyers are required to pay to their suppliers within 180 days as per the second provision to rules section 16.2. So I was just attending a seminar yesterday also, and there are some other laws in which the government is passing ordinance for putting some provision into suspended animation. It was particularly with respect to the IBC, the bankruptcy code. So it is my view that even in the GST Act, there are few provisions which have some timelines. You have extended the dates of filing of return as well as some other reliefs have been given, but there are other sections also which contain these timelines. Payment within 180 days is one of those provisions which would require a suspended animation kind of status to be given. Similarly, there are provisions on other job work where the goods are supposed to be received back within 1 year. That will also be put into suspended animation. Then there is a provision with respect to the sale on approval basis, the invoice will be received under section 31 within 6 months. So all these kind of provisions should be collated, and you should send a suggestion to the board, to your higher ups, that some of these provisions need to be put into suspended animation for at least next 6 months, so that the trade is not hampered by these old provisions which were pre-COVID kind of situation, and now we are in COVID, so it requires some relief on those aspects. In fact, on the e-way bill also, the extension has been given only up to 30th April. So it would be, in fitness of things that the e-way bills can be, given a validity of 1 month, or because even with the reopening after 3rd May, there will be few states which will have troubles in trade, transportation, all those things. So these provisions, instead of giving them a 15-day extension every time, they should be put into a suspended animation altogether for next few months, so that the trade can, move without any tension of non-compliance or something of that sort. That I would think that you should please put across to your higher ups in the department.
Definitely, Rodaji, definitely. The department is already aware of such problems which are being faced by the trade. As you would have seen that initially what has been done is to plug the low-hanging fruits, right? So the returns have been deferred, and there has been a mechanism which has been developed if there is a situation when your order gets cancelled or the payments are not made, so you can apply for refunds, etc. So this suggestion of yours is very valid. The concern is very valid, and we will definitely raise this in a formal way to the GST Council, definitely.
Sir, I would like to add, sir, in the current scenario, in my opinion, that the department should come up with the clear guidelines for confidence building measures post-COVID situation. Our institute is working very hard on these suggestions to the higher ups in the GST department in the CBIC level. On daily basis, we are attending several webinars in which government is taking several measures to reintroduce confidence building measures among traders and all that. This is a very panic-like situation, because post COVID-19, the reintroduction of industry at the previous batch will be the need of the hour, including the labor-intensive units, which needs to be made a great comeback with the high-end capital and all these things. In my opinion, the two things which I would like to suggest that you must immediately withdraw reverse charge mechanism on every front, because it clearly hampers the freight related activities and other aspects, and it will be a great thing to build up a confidence building measure among the traders. The second thing is, at least e-way bill mechanism should be suspended for the coming 6 months, because it's not sure rather that whether how long the lockdown will continue. In this case, businessmen will be under free system to deliver the material at any place or to get the material without this e-way bill mechanism. However, I believe that a clear control on the billing system of traders should be established in some other mode. These two things, I believe that will go a long way in achieving a good confidence among the traders.
Gauravji, absolutely valid suggestions. What I would like to inform you is that right now the government has limited resources. So what is happening is that you are going to see packages or reliefs, but these will not come together in a big bang, but instead you will see small reliefs happening as and when the requirement is there. Now, what, as you have already said, is that CBIC is already actively engaging with ICAI and other bodies, and therefore all the concerns are being taken into account, and I'm sure that all your suggestions are being deliberated upon, and maximum possible relief
in my opinion, the correction should be needed at both macro and micro level. We should start from the micro level also, so that every local and small businessman should get a confidence boost up that department is with them in this pandemic issue and not against them to collect the taxes all the time. So it will go a long way for creating a good image of department and to gain the confidence.
Absolutely. Gauravji, one thing I can assure you is, irrespective of whatever happens in the CBIC and whatever deliberations are happening, is that we will raise your concern. And secondly, that trade of Amritsar, so far as CGST department is concerned, will never face any problem. This I can assure you, and we will in fact move ahead to ease a lot of problems which the trade is facing to the extent possible. So this is my assurance from the CGST department that any such problem, as far as going very hawkish on tax collection, will not happen from the CGST department, and we are ready to assist the trade and the bodies in every possible.
Thank you so much, sir. In the last 3 or 4 days, we gathered the information that both direct and indirect tax revenue mode, Government of India has still not revised their revenue targets. They are still on the same line which were 3 months ago. As you people got the revenue structure for the next years in February and or March, and the government is still to revise that. The people are already working on it. I'm not saying that. The people are working wholeheartedly to revise that targets. But my humble request to you that in this scenario, only getting business on the safe mode, it should be the target. There should be no other target in front of that, because the labor intensive units, employment mode, अगर business होगा तभी सर collection होगी, तभी revenue होगा. This is my opinion.
Gauravji, what you will see is that once the numbers of first quarter are out, or from January to March, these are due in a few days. After that, you will see a correction, and I am pretty positive that the fiscal deficit of the government is definitely going to increase, so far as to the fact that the tax burden is not put on the assessee, and the government may take more of a proactive role in assisting the businesses to come back.
Thank you so much.
Sir, I have a little suggestion for mobilizing the funds which are required by the government at least we should make a suggestion that some sort of incentive may be provided to the assessee who are ready to pay their taxes in advance. For example, if we allow them a rebate of say 1% per month, if they pay their taxes in advance. So what will happen in this scenario? Suppose I am utilizing my bank limit and I am paying interest at around 9 to 10% average, say 0.75% per month. If I am allowed by the government that if I pay my GST taxes in advance, I am allowed a rebate of 1% per month. Suppose for the next 3 months, I am paying the cash to the government and I am getting a rebate of 1% per month. I am utilizing my CC limit. I am paying interest of say 0.75 to 0.8% on my CC, but I am getting a rebate of 1% from the government also. Businessman will be at the profit stage, and the main effect will be that the government will take the revenue which we are just talking. They will be deficit in the government budget. So for mobilizing the funds, I think this would help the government a lot. Say for example, in the earlier period, we were having a collection of around 1 lakh crore on an average per month, nearly. Approximately, we say 15 to 20% people opt for this scheme. Government will naturally generate 20,000 crore for 1 month from the public in the form of the GST advance collection. And these funds will definitely help the government to utilize them for a medical purpose or for any other relief purpose. So I would suggest that some sort of these schemes should also come out.
So basically, you're trying to say that the government gives us interest on the balance in the cash ledger.
Yeah, on cash ledger balance, they should give an incentive, and those who have paid the cash ledger say 1 month in advance, and when they are setting off their liability, they are entitled for 1% rebate or some sort of package, or some escrow account should be opened in which the amount is deposited and thereafter transferred to the cash ledger for offset, so that a distinction can easily be made also on that advance payment.
So what I gather is that you are talking about some kind of a discount wherein the taxpayer is paying the taxes either on time or in advance, right? Absolutely, this is a very wonderful idea, Rakesh ji, and we'll definitely put it up to our higher ups. And I believe the government already had some kind of thought on this, because if you see the income tax amnesty scheme, therein you saw a kind of a 10% rebate, right, for payments within time. So a similar kind of mechanism can be worked out over here also, so that there is some buoyancy in tax collections. Definitely, this will be taken up.
So one thing I would like to mention here, hello sir, how are you? And hello to everyone. That regarding the charities, the goods which the organizations, the concerns are giving as charities, they then will not be eligible for the ITC for those. So this is the time when they are coming up, and later on there will be a denial of ITC owing to section 17(5). So that is a point of concern for them. So the government must, like as sir already has suggested, like regarding 180 days concept or job work concept, along with that, the representation regarding this should also be made for the denial of ITC. One thing. Secondly, the hospitality industry, specific relief measures, because in the coming time, even when the lockdown will open, the industry will be in a great suppressed, will be in a fix at that time also. So they want some relief measures, the provisions of GST, the compliances to be relaxed. And the last, sir, regarding refunds. So there has been recent changes made regarding refunds by the government, that even in the exports, the payment realizations to be checked. But sir, at the refunds that have already been applied, in some cases, we have been asked to provide the documentation regarding the payments and all, which was not there applicable on those. So in this regard, a necessary guideline is required to be issued. So these are a few measures which would like to bring into your knowledge.
Anchal ji, as far as refunds are concerned, so our department, especially CGST Division 1 and 2, we had taken special decision on this, that all the refunds which had been applied before 31st March 2020 will be dealt accordingly as far as the provisions are concerned before 31st March. So we did not apply those stringent conditions which have been introduced by Circular 135 in respect of the earlier refunds. Thereafter also, I would like to bring to your attention that the condition for Annexure B, which had changed, wherein you had to give HSN codes and all, it has already put into delayed animation and it will no longer be applicable, but wherever possible, you please give it to us. Secondly, I had a conversation with a lot of tax consultants regarding the denial of ITC on missing invoices. I am personally having a different view than the circular, but these are the guidelines as far as the government is concerned as on date, and we have to abide by that. But definitely what we are doing is we are pushing for and trying to get as much relief as possible for the trade.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Whoever has a query, please unmute yourselves and ask your query or give your suggestion.
Manish, can I raise a query?
Please go ahead.
Sir, we are not supposed to take the credit if we are aware that the goods are going to the charity or something like that. Then we are not supposed to take the credit. There is no question of reversal of the credit. Basically, proportional reversal might be there.
The issue was only this, that at this point of time, because the concerns are going for the charities and they are not being given the ITCs, so that is a concern that the government should come up with certain policies that if we are giving medicines, we are giving the PPE kits or something as charity, so then the credit will also be not available. So that is the, we are expecting something for government to come forward. And secondly, as the industry is demanding reduced tax rates or no taxes on such things, later on they will neither be given the refunds under the inverted duty structure and nor there will be any benefits. So the industry benefits will not flow that way as it is required, is the need of the hour. This is where I want to point out.
Ma'am, in the case of PP kits.
Naresh, Aanchal ma'am has said, you rightly said that credit is not available, but take a situation that I got a goods in the month of January or February when I took the credit, and in the month of April I am giving it as a charity. Now credit has already been taken, which we were not supposed at that time to give it as a charity. The intention was not to give as a charity, but the goods were lying with us, and in the month of April we are giving it as a charity. The credit has already been taken. Yeah. But as per the rule, by 17.5 we have to reverse that credit. What Aanchal ma'am is saying is, you
in that case it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. But nowadays the PP kits. PP kits is a mixed supply, which consists of 4 items, 5 items put in one envelope. You have to go for the highest rate of goggles, 18%.
Yes.
Now the situation comes, you are paying 18% and you are recovering 18%. So there is no question. Until and unless you are, because the PP kits are being supplied in a very specific tailor-made manner. They say, we need the 50,000 PP kits of this size, this color, this mask, these gloves. So but say somebody comes and say, okay, I want to just donate it. In that situation, whatever credit you have taken, you have to proportionally reverse it. If you are selling 50,000, giving the 50,000 donation, then reverse it accordingly. Or you should not take the credit. Because taking the credit and then reversing it means a lot of accounting errors and inconvenience. So the better thing is not to take the credit.
Gupta ji, what I would, and I would like to point it out to everybody, is that I have been in touch with some of my colleagues who are working in the board. And recently you would have seen that there have been a lot of representations wherein there has been a call for tax reduction in items, in essential items, right? Wherein you could include PPE kits, masks, etc. The board is actively looking at this from the perspective that the credit flow is not hampered in any way. So I believe certainly that in times to come, you will see certain guidelines or certain changes wherein the tax credit flow does not get hampered, right?
Any members?
Sir, I
Yeah,
would like
can
to
can I come in,
suggestions.
Shashipal ji, can I come in for a few
Please,
minutes?
please, sir. Please, sir. Please, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I just wanted to know that in view of the new circular regarding refunds and the attachment, since there was a provision that if ITC is not appearing in, 2A, the purchase is not appearing in 2A, then previously we used to attach the copies of the bills along with the annexures. So is there a requirement now, since it is since we are not going to get any ITC which is not in 2A, so is there any requirement to attach those bills along with the refund applications?
Chawla ji, there is no need now to attach any missing invoices because the credit eligibility has already been disallowed on those. So your annexure B, wherein you have mentioned those bills which are appearing in 2A, will suffice for refund application.
Right. And sir, one more suggestion was that since the legal communications are going to be online now, and that is going to be a new normal, so I would request that you direct your officers concerned to have a liberal view in interpreting the answers given by the councils or the sessions, and they should not be very strict in interpreting those replies, and they should have a broader perspective since meeting face to face is something different, and just relying on a few lines written by somebody may have a different connotation while understanding those replies.
Absolutely, Chawla ji. Even before the COVID situation emerged, I had a discussion with many of you, wherein we were discussing the faceless assessment which has been introduced by income tax. Therein we were discussing these challenges that the interpretations of the written word may be drastically different than what was intended to be. And so therefore what we are planning is, first of all, that I would like and urge all of you to be as clear as possible in your written communications. Secondly, if you feel the need that you want to represent yourself, then video conferencing is a very good tool which we all can use. So you can directly reach out to me or any of my officer wherein you feel the need that you want to talk, you want to represent personally. And we will ensure that any decision which is taken before that, your concerns are all taken into account.
Right.
And I would like to put
a very small, just a second, just a small query. So a few days earlier, we had a discussion about the refunds which are pending, which were submitted before the amendments, like manual refunds. So is there any headway with that, sir?
Chawla ji, I had already told you what I had done was that I had sanctioned a few of refunds. I think only 2 or 3 were left for the period prior to online refund mechanism. We had sanctioned those, but we could not dispatch those to the PAO, the paying authority. What we are doing is now that those refunds are going to be sent to me to Hoshiarpur via postal medium, and I will be signing and sending those to Chandigarh for your payment. So we are actively trying to use all the possible routes to clear the refunds as quickly as possible.
Thank you, sir.
So I would like to add one thing. As regards the refund applications for the period January 20 to March 20, according to the new rules, there is a problem, practical problem coming in. which is that the returns for the month of March or for the quarter has not been filed by almost everyone. So while calculating the refund, so those our purchase ITCs are not appearing in GST 2A, and the assessee is unable to file those applications because the amount is not appearing in 2A. So I would like a suggestion should be made to the government that a relaxation of matching of 2A may be given for one particular quarter, so that the assessee may apply for the refunds accordingly. So the existing provisions, what I want to say, the erstwhile provisions may be applied for this particular quarter, and the new amendment may be made applicable from 1st April.
Absolutely. I foresee that some kind of changes may be there. Why? Because the government has already deferred 36(4), right, up till cumulatively to September. So if we apply the similar logic on refunds, which are a priority for the government, I am of the opinion that this relief should be granted. So we will definitely put forward this to the government higher up, and I hope that a positive decision will be taken up as far as refunds is considered, because that is very critical at this time for the businesses.
Thank you.
Sir, I would like to put across a few points. One is regarding the IGST refunds, regarding the cases where the data has been already been transmitted to the custom portal, but still the people are not getting the refunds, maybe due to one error or the other, whether it is SB005 or SB001, whatever the type of error may be. Now, it might be happening that in many of the these cases, the people are just stuck with, might be going from here to there. Maybe in such cases where the we can talk to the concerned port authorities, of course, on the basis of feedback that we receive from the people concerned, and talk proactively to them so that the blocked refunds, because what is happening in these cases is that data has already been transmitted to the custom portal, but still the people are not getting refund, maybe due to some error in shipping bill, or maybe due to the EGM not properly filed, or for something which is lacking on the part of a custom port at their end. So maybe these cases can be proactively dealt with so that the people get their funds in time and the working capital does not get blocked. The one other point that I want to put across is maybe not in the CGST, but it is happening in other parts of the countries, or maybe in this SGST department. What is being done is that the credit is being blocked. ITC is being blocked for one reason or the other, for the minor pending verifications. Now, if my ITC, valid ITC, maybe the crores of ITC has been blocked and I am not getting the credit for that ITC, and I have to dole out of my pocket for the remaining taxes. So that is something to be, if there are minor pending verifications, then ITC blocking I think should not be resorted to, especially when now we already have this rule 86A in place. So ITC blocking, which is not even in accordance with rules, I think such kind of ITC blocking should immediately be done away to provide immediate relief to the people. The third point that I want to put across is regarding the risky exporters cases. Now, of course, there are a number of cases where the fake credits are being passed on. And I think due to the feedback that has been received in case of verification of the risky exporters cases, the circular 135 has been brought by the department on the basis of whatever the feedback that has been received. So that is why they are doing all these things. But there are so many other genuine cases also where maybe the people are not getting their refunds, or the physical verifications of the 100% physical verification condition is still there. So these people are facing a lot of problem, and especially during this lockdown period, no one knows what is the fate of the verification that is there. So I think these cases can also be pursued with the concerned authorities, that these cases might be sped up. The fourth point that I wanted to put across is that already in respect of the movement of goods, this e-way bill facility has already been some kind of moratorium has been put. Like the e-way bill period has been extended to, I think, up to 30th of April. Now, what is happening is that I have this pushed my bill through GSTR1. The goods are in transit. Because of the provisions of section 16(2), I will not be getting the credit till the receipt of goods. Now, what is happening is that the goods are in transit, tax has been discharged, but due to 16(2), I will be getting the goods are lying on road. Maybe they are stuck up with some transport. I am not getting the goods. So I will not be getting the credit. So if we just like to look through the situation from the perspective of what is upcoming things even in the new return system, the government is allowing a credit on the goods in transit. So if we are, if in these genuine cases, if we ultimately a person is able to prove that the goods are actually received by him, maybe in the month of May, June, July, or whatever period, we can allow credit to this person for the goods in transit which were in transit in the month of March, so that his liability does not unnecessarily gets escalated. Then another point that I wanted to put across was that the of course, in respect of the compliances that were falling from the 20th of March onwards, a time period has been put, and all these compliances have been extended. But there are few more things, like maybe my time for filing of appeal has lapsed. I was required to file my appeal under section 107 within a period of 90 days, and that time period has lapsed. Now I am under the law, I am also given an additional period of 30 days under section 107 subsection 4. Now that period was available with me for the filing of appeal within this extended period. So maybe in the new guidelines, this issue has not been specifically addressed. Maybe because of if a person has been prevented by sufficient cause from filing of an appeal within an extended period where he can extend the sufficient cause, then definitely he should be allowed to file all these appeals. Then one more suggestion that I can put across is that for the purpose of filing of appeal, we are required to make two type of deposits. One is the deposit of admitted tax, and the other one is the regarding this disputed tax. I am required to pay 10%, or maybe the appellate level at 20% under 112. Now I think there is again another area where a person who is in litigation, he may be required to pay the admitted tax, but the tax which is already in dispute, this pre-deposit thing can be relaxed. Then incidental to this, now what is happening is that there are a number of cases which have already been decided, or maybe they are pending at the level of commissioner appeals or deputy commissioner appeals. Now the government has already issued a direction by issuing a directive that all those cases that you need not just wait for the constitution of this GST appellate tribunal, and just dispose of these cases as early as possible, and do not wait because we will be providing them sufficient time for filing of appeal. Now what is happening is that these people have already paid their taxes. Maybe if this is a refund case, they have the refund amount has already been debited from their account. So so the amount that has already gone out of their pocket, now they are on a they are on a disputed point, they are an aggrieved party and in appeal before the department. So I think this constitution of appellate tribunal should be expedited. So whatever the bottlenecks there are, maybe there was a Supreme Court decision in case of AK Balaji or whatever thing, the things are not coming in place in number of high courts. This constitution of appellate tribunal has been put on hold. So I think these bottlenecks, the department can immediately work upon the bottlenecks which are coming there, because the department already knows that this section, if section 112 is not in accordance with the Supreme Court directions, then the appropriate action has to be taken. Then one more point that I wanted to put across was that the first point that you touched upon was very valid, that the revenue is falling. Already the revenue, as you told, that the first month revenue is already 10% of what it was in the past year. Now what is happening is that there is a lot of cash crunch with the people, and there are a lot of people who want to comply with the law, but due to one reason or the other, they are not being able to pay money. Now, when I file my return, there are two things that I want to furnish my data through GSTR 1, I want to furnish my data through GSTR 3B. But 3B says that you can file this return only once you have completely paid off your taxes. So this is something which is not written in the law, but this is something that has been designed by the portal so that you cannot file your return until you have paid your taxes. So section 39 only requires you to file a return. Portal requires you to file a valid return. And we know in the law there is a big difference between the return and a valid return. So the suggestion that I want to put across is that maybe we can do some tinkering with this 3B, that the people are allowed to file 3B by setting off their this ITC part. But for the, they are not compelled to make payment through the cash ledger, because what will happen is that if you stop people from filing 3B with the times to come, then there will be more and more evasion. So let the people come out there with their figures, because the figures that have already come into their books of account, the figures which have already been freezed, let the people furnish their figures, and let us not stop them from filing of the return just because they are not able to pay their taxes. So I think the 3B should be designed in a manner which is in accordance with the law. So these were the suggestions that I wanted to put across. Over to you, sir.
Vinamarji, I'll go one by one for the points you raised. First of all, you raised the point of blocking of IGST refunds wherein tax was paid, right? As far as that is concerned, customs is dealing with it. But what I can do for you is that I can utilize my informal channels so as to put a word in for the assessees who are facing a problem in this regard. Secondly, you raised the point of SGST department blocking credits. I am not a spokesperson for them, so I cannot say anything on their behalf, but let me warn you in a certain way that the revenue position of Punjab is probably at a very, very critical position. And if any such credits have been blocked, then you will have to actively engage with the department to get those unblocked, because I do not see them blocking or unblocking credits because cash is the requirement as far as the present position is concerned for Punjab government. Thirdly, you raised the case of risky exporters. So in risky exporters, CGST division 1 and 2, we have only a very few cases which are left with us. What I would urge you all is to assist us in physical verification, wherein what would be required is that we could just have a look at the premises of the company so that they have substantial wherewithal to kind of export such kind of a commodity. So that is an assistance which we would require from you so that we can complete the verifications at the earliest, because everything else is just document based. Fourthly, you raised the e-way bill concern that has already been raised by other participants today, and I'm 100% positive that a positive decision in this regard will be taken, and the concerns and the rules will be relaxed further also. Then you raised the point of appeals. What I'm seeing is that many commissionerate appeals are already taking proactive steps in this regard. As far as online filing or filing via video conferencing or filing via emails is concerned, they are accepting those kind of appeals also. So I would put in a suggestion to Commissioner Appeals over here in Punjab for us, and so that this kind of mechanism may be developed, which would ease a lot of problems. Further returns, I think we have already discussed this many times before, Vinamarji, that this mechanism wherein you can file the returns only by paying tax dues probably needs some kind of tweaking, and we need to revert back to the system which existed in service tax, wherein you could file your return and even pay the taxes in cash later on. I am 100% along with this suggestion, but I do not see if some changes can be made in this regard as far as GST portal as on date is concerned. But we'll definitely raise this concern so that the returns can be filed even if it is even if it does not include cash payments, which can be paid later on when the business conditions improve.
So I have a small query. As regards the filing of refund applications for exporters under new circular 135, there is a capping of 1.5 times of the price charged in the domestic bill. So as regards that application, please provide us with guidelines or the list which type of documents we are required to file in our refund application to justify these circular provisions.
Chawla ji, you would have seen that that circular simply guides you in a certain way and does not make any kind of mechanism or template for filing such kind of refund applications. So what I was thinking about is on the lines that we could get a declaration itself from the exporter that their product is within 1.5 times the price they are charging domestically. So I think that should suffice at this point in time. And if you could further substantiate with some kind of domestic bill which has been raised for that commodity, then that would be really helpful. So these two things, a declaration and a comparison of a domestic invoice and an export invoice, will be sufficient as far as I am concerned.
For that, we should attach a specimen copy, say 1 or 2 invoices of the domestic invoices in which we are supplying the similar quality, so that we can justify and make us some sheet of calculation that these are the domestic prices and these are the export prices and these are well within the cap limit.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Any members having any query?
So I think regarding this 1.5 times the value, I think we should look for some kind of directives, some kind of circular or clarifications that should be put in place by the government regarding this notification 16/2020, because this term that a same or similarly placed supplier. Now this is a term, I do not find this similar term in the current law or in the earlier laws, because we are conversant with the terms like, kind, and quality. But now this is something similarly placed supplier, which we are not conversant with. So I think we should seek some kind of clarity from the government itself, from the legislature itself, that what kind of clarity that can come into that what will happen with these refunds.
Sir, has its date been notified, 16/2020?
Now export of service. I'm coming to the definition of export of service.
This 23rd of March.
No, sir, the date of notification is 23rd of March, but the date, the notification says will come into force from the date it will be notified in the official gazette. So only for few provisions they have given the date as 1st April, but for other provisions they have not yet notified the date.
No, I think it is not like that.
It was written that whenever it is published in the gazette. So the gazette has already been published as on
date of publication.
Yeah. So it is.
I need to check it. I need to check it, sir, because for the other notifications they have put the date 1/4/2020 and so will be notified. Okay, might have been notified. I need to check that once.
Yeah, please go forward, and if there is any change you find in that, please do let us know also.
Because whenever a thing is notified in GST, they come up with a notification. Like for the Finance Act C1, they have given a date that from 1/1/20 it will be applicable. This provision will come into a proper notification comes with that respect. But no notified date has been given for these provisions. It is mentioned at the top of the notification will come into force from the date of notification. So
From the date of
we'll have to
publication
check
in
from
Gazette.
in the official gadget. Yeah. So we'll check and we'll surely revert, sir. Whatever will be the
Definitely.
issue.
Definitely.
Sir, can't we use the force majeure clause in the time barring cases?
Let us see, Gupta ji. See, the thing is that as far as the position stands today, the government is dealing with so many issues and there are so many concerns that these cannot be solved immediately. So I am very hopeful and very positive that you will see a lot of relaxations as far as taxpayers' concerns are concerned, right? So let us expect the positive. What we are going to do is we are going to raise these concerns of yours very vociferously through the formal channel so that appropriate decisions may be taken. So I think that we have had a very productive session today. I have got to know a lot of your concerns. Today itself or by tomorrow, these concerns will be raised. So I would just want that either Mr. Iqbal Singh ji could coordinate with us so that we can put into letter these concerns and raise them appropriately. Secondly, what I would urge you all is that kindly assist and guide the taxpayers in the right direction in the situations we are facing. And thirdly, please, all of you be safe, take care of your families. As far as possible, please help the needy all around you. And together, I am sure that we will emerge much stronger out of the situation which we are presently facing. So my best wishes to all of you and thank you all of you for participating. If you have any other concerns, you can directly reach out to me or any of my officers and we would be more than happy to assist you in any kind of way. So thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, for sharing your valuable views, suggestions, and for guiding the tax consultants and CA members. Now I request CA Vinamr Gupta ji to kindly formally give vote of thanks.
So first of all, a big thanks to you, Munish Peri ji, and our institute, because in these times when we are facing a very difficult times, when we are seeing so many enlightened faces, at least we feel like that we have our brothers with us to help us out of this situation. There are people with us who can care for us. I think the suggestion that has been put across, because the life is not going to be the same as it was earlier. The suggestion that you have put across regarding the communication through emails and attending the PH through this by using these facilities, I think this suggestion is absolutely wonderful suggestion, because I think we must be utilizing this facility, because we have to stay safe for ourselves also, and we have to protect others also. So we must definitely be utilizing these facilities in the upcoming times instead of going to the officers times and again. And definitely few wonderful suggestions have been put across by the participants, like Gaurav Arora ji has put across this suggestion of 180 days that this norm can be relaxed with, that has been put in section 16 to second proviso. Then Gaurav Gupta ji has put across this because this RCM, this is something revenue neutral exercise, so we can put it off. Then there are a few good suggestions by Rakesh Chawla ji, who has asked to encourage the people who are paying the taxes in advance or who are paying their taxes in time, and also to this relax this 2A norm for at least for a period of at least for this quarter. And I think the government has already done is they have said this norm can be you have to take the aggregates under Rule 36(4) up till the month of August. Then I think Anchal ji has put across the suggestion regarding the ITC blocking regarding the charities that are being extended and to put some kind of relaxation to the people. And then last but not least, I think this is very much in accordance with law and also in accordance with the demand of the situation, that the decision that has been taken by you that this circular 135 shall not be applied to the previous applications. So definitely for the upcoming application, because this is a government directive, the department has to go with this. So I think the approach that has been taken by you is not only a tax friendly approach, but also an approach which actually the law requires us to do in such a manner, because this circular has to be applied prospectively. So I warmly and heartily extend my thanks to officers, to my branch for being there with us. Thanks to all of you, sir. Thank you for this wonderful session.
And just before we leave, I would also like to specially convey my wishes on behalf of Mr. Parasuram ji, Assistant Commissioner, CGST Division 2. Unfortunately, due to some prior commitments, he could not join us in this meeting. But I assure you all that me and Shri Parasuram ji, we stand strongly with the trade as far as this COVID situation is concerned to ease all your concerns. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Vinamrji. We can expect such kind of meetings in futures also from CGST department. And with these words, I request everyone to stay home and stay safe. Thank you. This meeting is over.